The neighbor down the street was cleaning out a building he's got on his property and found some scrap metal that he thought I might be interested in. And part of what he had was some channel iron. Now last year, Alan Kress demonstrated at the Rocky Mountain Smiths Conference, and he did a handle made from channel iron. His had a unique feature. The part that mounted to whatever you're putting the handle on, a chest, a drawer, a door, whatever, were chiseled into the shape of feet. So I don't want to copy his idea, even though it's unique and it's kind of whimsical. I want to do something a little different, but I want to be inspired by that idea. So today I want to explore some ideas using some cutoffs of channel iron. This looks like it's 8 inches long or about 205 millimeters long. It's about 2¼ inches tall or about 55 millimeters tall. These exact dimensions really don't matter. This is just what he had for me to use. And it's 1/4 inch thick, so it's about 6 millimeters thick. The key feature in the channel iron is these great big corners here. That's an upset that would be hard to do in this thinner material. So starting with that corner is a real bonus, and it opens up some interesting design possibilities. Now the point of today's video is less about making exactly what Alan made in that demo or making exactly what I'm going to make in today's video, but rather to use your imagination. Think about where you can take this idea, where you can take this concept, and what other things you might be able to do with it. So let's get started making a simple door handle out of a piece of channel iron. That's a general idea for a very basic handle made out of channel iron. I think you can do all sorts of different things with this if you just use your imagination. And that's the key to so much of this, is start with an idea and just take it wherever you think you can go with it. This was a little fiddly. The thick spot here where the corner is doesn't want to bend even when hot, and the thin spot right next to it wants to bend even if it's cold. So it's really hard to get that adjusted. And I think if I were going to make more than one or two of these, I would make a jig that really helps support that corner and leaves it while you bend this so it doesn't end up all funky and wonky. But with enough persistence, you can get this to come out right. Now we can take that same concept and use smaller channel iron. This is a little piece of channel iron. It looks like it's about 3 inches or 75 millimeters, and I've cut it 1/2 inch wide, which is about 13 millimeters wide. Again, this is just what I happen to have on hand. It was given to me by a neighbor who was trying to get rid of this stuff, and I'm just going to see what I can make with it. So this obviously isn't going to be a big door handle like this one might be, but I think it could be a nice little pull for a drawer or a small cabinet. Maybe a simple lidded wooden box or something might like something like this. So let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to try and make it very similar in style to the other one, so they can go together as a set if necessary. So these were certainly some fun projects. I think there's some real potential to this idea. you can imagine this in a lot of different ways. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing this, and that's really the point of doing this. And personally, I'm not sure if I'm going to make a series of something that I put online for sale, or if I'm just going to play with the idea a little bit more, although I think I see some real potential, and I like the simpler approach. I'm going to show you a few here in a minute that took different approaches, different ideas, just to show some of what I came up with for this project. But I like the simple flare on the end and leaving the bar parallel with a couple of lines filed in it. I think the file work makes a huge difference. This is the little one we forged, the one we looked at. I don't know if you can, let me zoom in. And this one does not have any file work on it. This is just left kind of as forged. And I kind of like it. It's a nice looking shape. But if you compare it to one that I did, everything the same, except that I added the file work. I don't know if you can see that very well in the video or not. But the file work and then a little wire brushing to leave some highlights, filed the bevels on this. It looks so much better, at least to my aesthetic. I think this is the way I would go with this if I were going to make a batch of these, and I probably will. I got enough of this smaller material to do probably 6 dozen of these, and I got enough of that larger piece of channel iron. If I wanted to cut it all up into stuff like this, I could make about 5 dozen handles in this size range. Plus, I've got some other scraps of channel iron from other projects left over in different sizes that I can experiment with. So there's lots I could do with this. I could probably spend another month just playing with this idea. Don't think I will. I don't really have time to do that. But there are some ideas there. And these are the ones that I like the best. So let me show you some of the other ideas, things that I maybe didn't like so well. Now this one is just left parallel. There's nothing done other than shaping the bow, and that makes a nice little handle. That would be very nice. But this is a little bit boring. I don't like that. On this one, it's got the same flared ends. I do like the flared ends of everything I tried. I think that's what I like the best for the ends. But I rounded this up. I drew it out so it's a little bit longer, a little bigger handle, and it's rounded up, it's comfortable, and I like that, but I don't think I like it as well as I like this one. Of course, your tastes are going to be different. You do what you like. This is just what I like. I tried closing it all the way up, and I kind of like this. This is a nice little handle. This was extremely fiddly to get that to close up. The feet want to bend down when you do that, and as a result, it's a lot of back and forth. So this was kind of fiddly, but I do like that design. I put some fullers in this one. Not wild about the fullers. Again, I think the flared end looks better, but it's an idea you could work with if you wanted to. I took that idea a little further and closed one up, but I offset the feet. In my mind, I really liked this idea, but in practice, it just didn't come out quite the way I thought it would. I think the little handle end does not cross over quite crisply enough, and finding a way to clamp this up, I'd have to make a special clamping fixture that pushed on one side and the other side so I could clamp it up, and then I could twist this. It would probably come out a little better, and I may experiment with that a little bit more. But in my mind's eye, I thought this was going to be the one I liked the most. But do you have to make handles out of this stuff? Took another piece of the larger stuff, and I upset the ends. I put a piercing in the middle, and I see this as a shelf bracket. You'd probably put flat bar on the sides and the top to actually mount to the wall, but this would be your brace then in a shelf bracket, and I like that idea. This is a little tapered going into that slit and drift hole, and I like the looks of that. I do not like the way the upsets came out. With this upset here, this just does not look right to me. I think, once again, I'd rather have the flared ends on something like this. So it's just a matter of what your personal aesthetic really likes. I think you could also take something like this and bend it in half so that the flanges are flat like this, but draw this part out, probably in the heavier material, this thinner material, there's not enough stuff here, but draw this out, forge weld it, and you can make a hook out of this, and this would make very interesting mounts to mount on the wall. So that's just another idea I have. I'll probably try that. Just ran out of time today to get that done. So I hope this inspires you to use your imagination, explore some creative ideas. Just get out to the shop, try things out, see how it works. Sometimes you're going to be happy, sometimes you're not going to be happy, but that's the way you learn what works and what doesn't work. I want to thank everybody for taking time to watch the video, with a special thanks to my channel members and my Patreon patrons. Channel members receive early access to the videos, and the paid members over on Patreon receive not only early access, but they get ad-free versions of the videos. I've also started doing some blog-style posts over on Patreon. Those are available for anybody. You don't have to be a paid member if you want to read those posts. And I'm going to try and keep that up. I think that's a good place to share some thoughts and ideas that are worth putting out there, but not something that needs to have a full video made out of it. So I'm going to experiment with that for a while over on Patreon and on my website. I've got a blog page over on my website, so you can find those posts either place if you're looking for them. In the meantime, I hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop. Try something new and interesting, but be safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next video.